Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Moon Goddess. First things first, before we dive into this video, I want to say hello to all of my new subscribers and everyone who is joining me on this journey. What's up, fam? Okay, I hope everyone is having a wonderful, amazing day. I hope that you are not letting the energy of the retrograde get to you, but I hope you are harnessing it and transmuting it into something beautiful for yourself, okay? So as you can tell by the title of this video, I'm going to talk about how I got into the craft while growing up in a Christian household. I'm going to talk about the judgment that I faced once I ultimately told my family that I was starting spell work, and also how I was able to overcome some of the negative things that came my way from family members. And even still now, some of them who are still maybe coming at me sometimes every now and then, but you know, boundaries. I am an intuitive tarot reader. I'm also developing my psychic abilities. So growing up in a Christian household, a lot of things were pretty much off limits. A lot of conversations were completely forbidden. Like if we mentioned Harry Potter or wanted to go see a Harry Potter movie, we might as well had just invited the devil into our house to sit down and have dinner with us that day. It was just bad. A lot of things were pretty much off limits. We were basically taught that this is what the Bible says, or this is what the word says, and this is it. This is what you're supposed to go by, and that's it. I've always been the type of person to always question and to always challenge things and to always try to dig deeper and to try to find deeper meanings or deeper outcomes in regards to things. Especially when I learned that there were more than 66 books in the original Bible. I had a whole bunch of questions in regards to Christianity, as far as who were the people who determined that these 66 books were the only books that we needed in order to get us through life? What were in the other books that we probably need or probably would be helpful in today's day and age? And why were those books taken out? Who has those books? Where can I find those books? Where can I read those books? I was always that child questioning a lot. My grandfather is a pastor here in Connecticut where I live. So growing up as a pastor's grandchild, there was always a stigma of perfection that just hung over our heads growing up. We had to constantly make sure that our steps were 100% squeaky clean. It got to a point where I just felt like there was always like a magnifying glass on our family. Like a lot of people were just constantly watching us and watching what we were doing. My family is pretty known out here in Connecticut for our religious work, for the church that I grew up in, for our missionary work. So a lot of people, when they hear my last name, which I will not say, it's always a thing of like, oh, wow, the pastor, the church, this, that. And as soon as someone says that, it's like, I always felt like, ooh, I gotta watch how I move. I gotta watch how I gotta watch what I say around certain people. There was always a stigma of perfection just hung over our head. So once I started on my journey for spiritual enlightenment, I was very afraid to talk to my family, especially when it came down to doing candle magic, being in tune with the moon, being in tune with the sun, using crystals, using incense, using sages, writing down petitions. Like a lot of things I was very much so afraid to talk to my family about, because a lot of these things were seen as demonic, satanic, or just all around bad. It was just like, not the pastor's grandkid. It was very much so a thing that I kind of kept hidden. I was very intrigued by the magical realm growing up, but a lot of things I was very afraid to say because I couldn't say it. I couldn't talk to my family or question certain things. Especially one particular family member that is an ancestor watching over me, guiding me, and I feel her presence daily. My great grandmother, she was born with a veil over her eyes, so she has psychic abilities. She was able to look you in your eyes with the sweetest smile and was reading your whole entire everything. She did it to me one day, and she ultimately told me that I would know what I have to do in regards to my path. And I was literally 13 years old, and I have those words stuck in my head daily. And I'm constantly trying to figure out what she meant by it, and I'm still trying to figure out what she meant by it. I think this is a step, so I hope I'm making her proud and the other ancestors proud as well. But I had a lot of questions in regards to her. And growing up, the answers that I got from my mother, because she was my mother's grandmother. So when I would ask my mother about her, there were very gray area, vague responses. Nothing in depth until I got a little bit older. And once I started on my spiritual journey, I believe that's kind of when my mother kind of felt like she could open up a little bit more about my great grandmother. So she ultimately told me that my great grandmother was also a tarot reader, and my great grandmother also was doing spell work as well. Once I found that out, I was very much so even more intrigued about my path, about, learning more about the spiritual craft, learning more about just growing in it and trying to develop certain things. Knowing that you have a family member or someone in your family or people in your family who were also witches or who were also part of the craft kind of makes it more intriguing, at least in my opinion, makes the path and makes the journey more intriguing. What were they doing? Did they start something that maybe I need to finish? You know what I'm saying? It's kind of that thing. And then especially when you know that you are gifted any type of way, psychically, spiritually, when you know that you're gifted and you know that there were other people who were also gifted in your family, then that makes it even more intriguing. So learning about my great grandmother kind of opened up a door for me to, find things out more about myself. So once I started on my journey, I definitely got a lot of backlash. I was called, and still sometimes am called, a devil worshiper. Sometimes people even went as far as to tell me that I was going to hell. At one point, I was actually like sat down at my church, which means that I wasn't able to partake in the praise and worship team. I'm a musician as well, so I wasn't able to play any instruments and I wasn't able to participate. I could come to church, but I couldn't participate. I could just come and sit down, and that was it. And I feel like that kind of made me feel some type of way as far as like Christianity and how we're supposed to love people and we're not supposed to judge people, and we're not supposed to treat people any old type of way just because things are different. So that made me feel some type of way ultimately, and I kind of strayed away from the church for a while. I still believe in God, I still believe in Jesus, I still believe in the things that I was taught growing up in church, but I also know that there are elements of the universe, there are elements of this world that God, the creator, the goddess, the higher power, whatever you call your higher power, respectfully, that entity has placed here for us to use as well. It's kind of like, seasoning or enhancements to religion. There is a difference between religion and spirituality, which is another video that I will most likely do. If you want that video, comment down below. But there definitely is a difference between religion and spirituality. I feel like there are plenty of things that we can use that can help enhance our lives. Everything is all connected. I feel like a lot of times we're always so hung up on what religion is the right religion, who's going to heaven, who's going to hell, like, and at the end of the day, to me, I see everything as like puzzle pieces that make up the full picture that we can ultimately embody. Okay, like it all connects some sort of way. We just have different names for whatever it is that we call the higher power. I say God, someone else says Buddha, someone else says Allah, and at the end of the day, it's all the higher power. For me, I kind of felt some type of way that I was being judged, that I was being chastised, and that I was being ostracized, especially by my family. Now, don't get me wrong, it wasn't every member of my family that was coming at me. My mother has been a very big help. Now that I'm older, she's able to talk to me more about certain things. My mother also has psychic abilities too, okay? I don't even have to say certain things, and she'll just read my mind. I'll think something and she'll just come and just say it, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. So I'm on to you, Mom. Don't worry about it. I won't tell anyone if you don't want me to, but I pretty much did already in this video, so shout out to you. On this journey, it has been very tough. I definitely had to grow a big wall of boundaries around me as far as the things that I believed for myself, especially when there's people who want you to follow one specific path. They can ultimately doubt everything that you're doing, which can in turn make you doubt everything that you're doing. They can tell you that you're wrong. They can tell you that it's satanic. They can tell you it's demonic. They can call you all types of horrible things that can ultimately make you feel low and less than. So the first thing that I want to say for anyone who may be experiencing the same thing is just set boundaries for yourself. Know who you can and cannot talk to. Some people are just not going to be receptive of the conversation of the craft, of you doing spell work, or of you even using the law of attraction. To some religions is considered evil for whatever reason. Just try to surround yourself with people who are understanding and people who are open, because the worst thing that you can do is have something burning inside you that you want to get out, but you can't because you don't have anyone who you can talk to. Try to find someone, anyone, even me if you want to, who can listen, or who you may just want to bounce ideas off of, or bounce, you know, different things off of. You know how many times I did like manifestation work and things actually came into fruition, and I was so excited that I wanted to tell my family members, and I had nobody who I can tell. I had nobody who I can go to and be like, oh my God, I did this and this happened, because I didn't want it to be a thing of like, who did you conjure? What did you know what I'm saying? It was like that type of thing. Yes, I still get some of that backlash now. But for me, I'm learning that I don't have to please everybody. I'm on my own spiritual path. Everyone is on their own journey. I'm doing what works for me, and I'm not doing anything harmful to anyone. I honor the laws of the craft. I don't do anything against anyone's will. I don't do anything harmful to anyone. My intentions are pure, and I'm just trying to do what I can to reach my higher self, to continue to grow in my higher self, to enlighten myself. And if I can help and speak to other people along the way and try to help them, then I am 100% open to doing that. So I don't want anyone to be like, oh, she says she's a witch, she's gonna curse us. The connotations around witchcraft, or around the word witch, or around the word spells, spell casting, magic, the negative connotation is very, very exhausting, and it's ignorant. If you're not 100% aware of the craft, don't judge other people who are on that journey, because it's just, you just sound crazy. And I don't pay any attention to people who are just, the moment I say witch, they're like, no. And I definitely get that type of response if I say the word witch. So for those of you who are on this journey, know that you are not alone, okay? We are all growing spiritually. A lot of people are using crystals, they're using sages. God gave us a tongue. There's life and death in the power of the tongue. You know what I'm saying? We speak things. We can speak things into existence. For some people, they may not understand what or how or whatever, but if you can enlighten someone, then hopefully then they can, you know, turn whatever negative connotation they have around it around. I'm grateful and thankful for the energy that I have now in order to do this type of video, because I could never see myself doing this type of video 5-6 years ago. So I am 100% grateful and thankful to God, to the universe, to the creator, to the goddesses, and to my ancestors and all of the higher powers that are helping me along this journey, for giving me the courage to be able to do this video. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful, and I hope that if anyone is out there needing help, reach out to me. If you'd like, you can drop a comment. If you're afraid to let your comment be seen, you can email me at readme1moongoddess@gmail.com, and we can just start bouncing ideas off each other, start helping each other grow spiritually, okay? I'm not here to do anything harmful to anyone. I am just here to try to help the best way that I can. So set boundaries for yourself. Know who you can and who you cannot talk to. Know what it is that you're doing. Don't do anything harmful. I mean, if that's what you want to do, know that karma does come back, and it does come back ×3. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful. If it was, hit that like button and also subscribe to my channel. I will see you all in the next video. Take care. I love you all. Love and light, and no judgment.